So today I'd like to introduce Santiago Guizano. He is with Pitcheer. Santiago, how are you doing today?
Very good. And you, Travis?
Perfect, perfect. I'm doing very, very well. Um, if you can, tell us a little bit about you and your company, and let's go from there.
Cool. I will start by my name. I'm Santiago Lopez Guinazu. I'm originally from Argentina, and I left Argentina 10 years ago. In the last 9 years, I lived in New Zealand, where I started my business, Pitcheers. And we then opened an office in Argentina with my business partner. And we then opened an office in Houston, Texas. And now I have been living in Houston for a year. So really enjoying Texas as my new home. And Pitcheers is working to solve the problem that we are seeing on LinkedIn, or every time you talk to people or companies about companies not being able to find the people they need for their teams, and people not being able to find the job that will fit their life.
Hmm.
So I'm pretty sure that if you talk to anyone that it's in a professional network, they will agree to say that if they talk to people, they will say that they are not enjoying the job search process as a job seeker. And if you talk to someone that is hiring, they will say that it's really painful to find the right team members for their team. So that problem is the one we are working to solve in Pitcheers. We have done a lot of progress, but of course, there's still a lot of things to do. So yeah, that's a little bit of me.
Okay. And Santiago, do you guys specialize in one particular area or?
Yeah, we specialize in technology.
Okay.
Most of our customers are companies that hire tech professionals, mainly in the area of software engineering, cloud infrastructure, data science, quality assurance. But we also are quite involved in all the roles that are related to product management, to UX and UI design. And of course, when we have a good relationship with our customers that we have been working for many years, we many times help them with other areas like maybe marketing or finance.
Sure.
But our niche is technology.
Okay. No, that sounds great. So let me ask, I think one of the things that we hear constantly is the emergence of AI within, I was going to say the industry, but really within the world. Are you guys using AI to bring candidates and employers together, or are you still kind of doing everything manually, or how are you going through that process?
That's a very good question. We definitely use technology to do our work. What I see in most companies is that they're using technology like AI to decrease the amount of conversations they have. Of course, because time is limited, it's a limited resource. And it costs money as well, having resources meeting people. So our approach is a bit different. We use technology and AI to talk to more people more efficiently, but we want to talk to more people because our business is about talking to people, talking to hiring managers working in companies, and talking to professionals that are wanting to grow in their career development. So we do use AI, and we use it to be able to talk to more people and to gather information more efficiently.
Okay. And while you're focused on kind of IT tech right now, is your goal to always kind of stay in that lane, or would you like to get to a point where you are really competing for the broad spectrum of all candidates and employers in the marketplace?
So definitely, we want to stay focused in the technology field because a few different reasons. One of them it's because most of the jobs in technology are mostly the same doesn't matter where the company is based in the world, or the job, a software engineer in Japan or a software engineer in America or in Argentina or in Germany, it's a software engineer.
Sure.
And the tools that they use are worldwide used. So it is way more easier to be able to add value to those professionals, because everything they do, wherever they are doing it, it's pretty much the same. So that's one of the reasons why we focus and we will stay focused in the technology area. The other reason is to help better our customers, companies that are using Pitcheers to hire new team members. If we are developing a community of professionals in technology locally or worldwide, when the companies need to hire, we are going to be better connected. If we want to go and help companies hiring whoever in any industry, we are not going to be able to provide a top service. That on one end. Said that, the industries or the companies we are helping could be in any industry. It could be oil and gas. It could be, I don't know, professional services. It could be healthcare, whatever the area or the industry. If they are looking to hire people in technology, we can help those companies, regardless if they're not a tech company. It's not that we focus on tech startups or tech companies, like, whatever. Yeah.
Sure. You know, in this day and age, there are very few companies that in some way, shape, or form aren't a tech company. I mean, even McDonald's now has an app. They've technified themselves, right? So I think that the proliferation of moving towards that is something that we will continue to see. And to your point, every company at some point in time will have a tech need because they are becoming more tech savvy and dependent. So let me ask you this: if we switch a little bit, tell me a little bit about, what do you attribute your growth to? You started in New Zealand. You were able to then open an office in Argentina. You're opening an office here in Houston, or you have opened an office here in Houston. And based on our previous conversations, I know that that's not the end. You have goals to be able to go beyond that. So how do you, or what do you attribute your growth to?
As I was saying, a software engineer, it's going to be doing the same job wherever they are in the world. Like, the job is the same. And because of that, it's very common that people keep moving countries in the pursuit of their career. So when I was in New Zealand, there were quite a few people from South America wanting to move to New Zealand. And when I was in New Zealand, there were people moving to America. And these people they are from all different countries, and they are traveling the world in the pursuit of the best career they can have. So I know people that went from Mexico to New Zealand, they worked there and then moved to Seattle, Washington, and then people that moved from New Zealand to Argentina and then to Spain. So basically what we want to do in Pitcheers is be able to offer these professionals the opportunity to find a job no matter where in the world, and be able to support them through this journey. Looking for a job, it's not an easy job. It is quite tough and quite lonely, where there's a lot of frustrations and a lot of vulnerability. So we have been supporting these people kind of in a not too strategic way, until we decided to say, it's like, okay, no, let's put a strategy together and see how we can support these people finding work wherever they want. Again, we have our office in New Zealand, and most of the people in New Zealand, it's looking for work in New Zealand. We have our office in Houston, and most of the companies or people in Houston are looking for a job in Texas or in America, and the same in Latin America. You know, it's like most of the people at the end of the day, they're looking for jobs where they live. They're not looking. Probably 5-10% is the people that are looking to relocate. But we saw that as an opportunity to provide more value to the professionals we work with, and also to the companies we work with, because again, talent in the technology field is quite competitive.
Mhm.
So many times it's hard to find the people you need in the city you live. And that's why companies in the tech field are way open to hire people remotely or to sponsor visas to bring the people to the city where they are. And again, having a presence in different places, it helps us to help better our customers.
Okay, it's unique to me. I think we will all look back on 2020 and COVID as a terrible period of time. There was isolation and nobody ever they didn't get to spend time with family and friends and things like that. But it has presented a unique idea in the fact that I was living in New York City at the time, and a lot of our friends ended up moving out of the city and moving to other places because their jobs went remote. And so now they're able to kind of balance their remote job with living in a place that they want to live. And it sounds like you're kind of helping bridge that gap as well. You have people that might be in one country, maybe in one location, and they want to be able to find a work-life balance and a lifestyle balance that they've been looking for. And so the entire thought process behind employment has really begun to become globalized. People are globally moving, and you yourself, you've lived in 3 different countries, 3 different continents. It's kind of amazing that we're seeing that happen. And I don't know that it's going to slow down anytime soon. Are you seeing that speed up?
Well, of course, you see a lot of companies asking their employees to go back to the office. That's something that is happening. Still, even before COVID, a lot of companies having tech teams, they had their teams distributed around the world. So again, more or less, I think this is still a thing. People moving countries in the technology field, at least. People working remotely, people going to the office, having a hybrid kind of way of working. So yeah, I don't think this is gonna stop.
Sure.
I think it's gonna evolve in different shapes and forms. But yeah, definitely not stopping.
Okay. And along those lines, I think that one thing that a lot of employers get nervous about at having remote workforces is they feel that they lose some oversight of their employees. But you, as an employer on a global scale, you have employees in 3 different countries, 3 different continents. How does that look to you, not only as an employer and managing through that process, but also as a supplier of candidates that are also going to be managed through that process? What does that look like to you? And said or asked differently, are there any pieces of advice that you would give other business owners in how to manage through a remote workforce?
Yeah, that's a fair question. So we do have people in Argentina, and in Argentina, not only in one city, but in 4 different cities.
Okay.
And then we have people working in New Zealand, again, in 2 different cities. And here in Texas, in Houston, we are 2. We are both in Houston, so it's the only country where we have people all the people is in the same city. And then we have people in the Philippines as well, and they're working in different cities as well. So I don't have an answer, a recipe for everyone to do it in the same way. At the end of the day, for some certain jobs, it's better to be together, and it's better to be able to meet face to face to solve some problems, to have certain kind of conversations. It's from my point of view, it's always better to be able to do it face to face. For many other things, it's definitely possible to be able to work remotely. At the end of the day, I guess that if we have to use or simplify how to implement these and be effective, is having systems and processes. It's one thing. being able to communicate clearly, but the most important one is building trust. And by building trust, it also means having accountability. In order to have accountability, you have to be very clear, set expectations, have a clear understanding on how things should be done and how should be achieved if it's necessary, depending on the seniority of the people you have in your team. To some people, you might give complete freedom on how they have to achieve stuff. To other people that are learning, they need way more guidance in how things should be done. Not because they can't do it, but because they're learning. So if they're learning, you have to show them how to do it. At least some some guidance in how to do it. So again, it depends. It depends who you're working with, what's the role, but it's a mixture of trust, first of all, then being accountable. Everyone should be accountable for what they're doing. In order to help them to trust you and to be accountable, clear communication and expectations, and to give the right structure, system, and processes.
Okay, perfect. So let's take a complete shift and talk a little bit about time management. Time management always tends to be a problem for everybody at any stage in their career, in their life. The fact that you are split across multiple time zones, you're split across multiple teams. How do you handle time management? What are some of the things that have been problems for you in the past, and how have you found solutions for those issues?
The right team members, for sure. Again, having people that you trust, that they're doing what they have to be doing, it's a big one. And of course, prioritizing what are the things that you want to get involved in, and make sure that you are allocating the time to focus on those things. As you said, like time difference, a lot of different activities. It is important to have the right team together, so everyone is has a clear understanding of what's their goal and how they contribute to the team. And for myself, it is about having a very clear understanding of what I'm accountable for, and having a calendar that reflects that accountability that I'm having, and not figuring out every day what I should be doing, but planning my weeks, planning my days, and putting a time and day to achieve stuff. And one of the things that I have to work on daily basis to be able to do it is to, okay, I have to do this, I commit to that, and that's it. Like, there's no second thoughts of I'm feeling like doing this now, or I'm in the mood, or I'm not in the mood. It's like, no, this is what needs to be done. I do it. Easy to say, hard to achieve. But the point is working towards achieving it by understanding what it is that you have to achieve, when and where you're going to be at, where you're going to be working towards that, putting it in your calendar, and then not thinking if you want to do it or not. You just do it. Again, it's easy to say, hard to achieve. Of course, then life happens, and you have to reprioritize or reorganize your day. But if you have a clear understanding of what you have to achieve and what are the most important things for you and for the business, then it's way easier to achieve.
Perfect. Thank you.
Said that, I would like to add one thing that I said, but I would like to put some emphasis on it, is being able to trust your team members.
Yeah, I think that that's absolutely crucial. It's interesting because for 15, 17 years, I worked for companies that were based in Germany, and I was at different places in the United States. And sometimes that time difference is actually kind of nice because they're finishing up their days, you're starting your day. So it gives you time to kind of get through all the stuff that they need. and allow you to focus on the things that you need. And it's just kind of a handoff. But again, there is a lot of trust there. If they don't trust you, you don't trust them, then it's a slog, and the work never gets done, or it never accomplishes or completes. So that trust is extremely important. I think the one question, sorry, go ahead.
To gain that trust, also, it's important to get to know the people you're working with.
Yes.
It's not just about the work, but also it's understanding who is on the other side, like, who is the person on the other side, what's going on in the life of that other person, to gain their trust. It's not just about work. And taking the time to build that relationship is important. Many times people don't do it because they don't think it's necessary.
So I think that brings up a great question, and that is, if you're I agree with you that building relationships with your team is extremely important, and maintaining those relationships. My question is how do you do that and still draw a line in the fact that at some point in time, you're going to ask for feedback from your team on a concept or an idea, and they're going to provide that feedback on that concept or idea. But you have to take all of that their thoughts, their ideas, and filter them out to the path forward for that specific product or that concept. And how do you balance those two things between not getting too bogged down or too taken away from your thought process and your idea, but still bringing your entire team and your entire surrounding of relationships together?
So by building a relationship doesn't mean that you have to be friends with your different team members. It doesn't mean that you have to get involved in their personal lives. But yes, it means that you have to be aware of what is important to them, and respect that, at the same time that, again, they are people over, like, above employees, there are people, and you have to understand that they have a life and that they might have their challenges and so on. So acknowledging that, only doing that, people are more open to see that you value them first as a person, and second as an employee. Said that, it doesn't mean that because I know that you're struggling in different things, that you still have to be accountable for what you're accountable. Sure. One thing doesn't take the other one. And in order to, and of course, with some people you will have a more closer relationship because maybe you share common interests in sports, in fashion, in whatever. And with some other people, you won't share those things. But it's important to understand who is the other person. What is the other person going through as a person, and recognizing that it's important to understand that. And then there's the other aspect that it's, okay, you're accountable for something. And as a team, we have to achieve our individual goals to support the overall goal of the team and the company. And I think that the way to achieve that is, as you find time to talk about a product, a service, a goal, is you have to find time to get to know the other person. And of course, it's easier to do it in the office, but I have started relationship with people that works together with me during COVID, and I didn't get to know them after a year and a half. And still, it was important to have that moment to understand who is the other person. Again, you might be more closer to one than the other because of common interests, but the most important thing is to understanding that that person is a person above an employee, and it's important to get to know who they are, it is important they know who I am. It goes both sideways.
Perfect. So one last question that I want to ask. If you were to look back, you started this company a number of years ago. What's the one piece of advice you would give either yourself, if you could go back in time and say, hey, don't make this mistake, or do this faster, or do this slower, or one piece of advice that you would give to other business owners that are trying to start a company? What's that one piece of advice you would say, this is something that I learned that I think that you should learn from as well, that you would provide?
I would say 2 or 3 things. One thing is everything takes more time than you think. Always. It always takes more time that you thought it was going to take. And the second one is, if you're starting a business from scratch, put systems and processes as soon as you can. Doesn't matter that it's 1 or 2 people or 3. The more clear on what and how things should be done, the better. And that doesn't mean that once you do it, you don't change it. Like, of course, it's going to evolve. But I believe that having systems and processes encourages a more clear communication. And with a more clear communication, you avoid a lot of misunderstandings.
Perfect. Santiago, I greatly appreciate the time, and I will speak to you soon.
Thank you very much for having me, Travis. And yeah, looking forward to talk soon.